After reviewing The Sims 2 Castaway on PS2 in 2023 and PSP in 2024, I decided I might as well review every Sims game on the Wii and eventually all 4 versions of The Sims 2 Castaway altogether. With only the Wii and DS left, it shouldn't be too hard to get through, right? Right? Yeah, well, it kind of can because the Wii version has several problems holding it back, but was rather more enjoyable overall over the PS2 and PSP versions. Not sure if it's because this is my 3rd time playing the same exact game or what, but for whatever reason, I didn't have too much of a bad time with this one. So let's get this one over, shall we?
It's about bloody time!
The concept of this Sims game is you're shipwrecked on an island and now must survive and find rescue, let alone a way to escape the island. Or should I say islands, as this game features 4 islands, one of which is hidden until you solve a basic puzzle. Gather resources to craft, eat, and survive the elements of a tropical island in the middle of nowhere. Severe storms will tear up your shelter, and lightning will strike your furniture, as nothing is truly safe from Mother Nature. Along the way, you'll find your fellow crew if you brought anyone with you, and must band together as a tribe and solve the lore of these islands, eventually figuring out one of 2 ways to escape and end the game. Sounds fun, right? For this entry, I decided to bring everyone back, except instead of 2 females, we brought along a newcomer to these reviews, who's still pretty fresh and has been barely ever used. I'll let you figure out who that is till we get to him. So starting off, like the other versions, this game doesn't have much in the way of create-a-sim assets. It's lacking in hairs, clothes, and you can't even change the faces up really. Not the eye color or eyebrow color either. So expect everyone to have brown eyes and brown eyebrows at all times. Unless it's hidden somewhere in another menu. Heck, at first I completely overlooked the clothing category till I went back to edit everyone.
Because he's stupid. Duh. He's stupid, so he's gonna think something stupid. It's pretty simple, right? I mean, duh.
Sadly, I couldn't really make anyone look like their real selves, though my Sim and Charlie were the most accurate, followed by Muda, but poor Zach couldn't have a balding hairstyle.
Suck a fucking dick, shut the fuck up.
As for the newcomer we brought in, either it's A, Queso, B, Jontron, C, JD Delay, D, Yo Mama, or E, J Schlatt. Enter your answer now. 3, 2, 1. It was 1999.
We're not sure if we're going to use this for ice cream, but we got some peanut butter today, and what happened to this peanut butter?
Again, because of the lack of customization, nobody really looks on par with their real selves. Mostly. But hey, enough negativity. For now. I mean, if you're not new around here, you know I'm not all sunshine and rainbows. I leave that fruity shit to the corpo shills like Lil Simsy, Alana Pierce, Young Yeah, Jesse Cox, ACG, Skill Up, and the Act Man to sell you products that they were paid to tell you are good, even when they're not. So I'm always honest with how I feel about games, and always will be. Never afraid to express them, even when I got nothing but flack from fanboys because of it.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Anyways, let's go on a boat trip and begin our nightmare. Welcome aboard the SS Balding.
Man, shut the fuck up.
Tim Moist Critical is balding.
Fuck you guys up.
Who wants to sing?
Oh God, please no.
You smell like dust. Your armpits are home to new types of moss.
What the fuck, dude?
Hey, let's go fishing.
Someone needs to steer the boat.
Hey, SHLADT, drive the boat, okay?
Oh god, who let Schlatt drive?
Man overboard.
Right away, the game begins with your tutorial island as you get to know of all the mechanics and controls. It's literally the PS2 and PSP game, but now you're forced to use a Wiimote and nunchuck. You cannot, for the love of God, use a classic controller or GameCube controller. Oh, no. You're forced to play motion-based only in every single Sims Wii game. What the actual fuck? It's just so clunky to deal with. I hate this setup. The Wiimote is used to confirm and point things around. The nunchuck is to move your sim and use the other buttons to speed up and whatnot. I just can't get used to this setup. Why? Why can't we just have a normal controller option? Fucking Nintendo Wii.
Yep.
Having to use the cursor to navigate menus is not that responsive, and you can easily select the wrong menu. But one thing I did notice right away about the Wii version, in comparison to the PS2 and PSP, is the load times and responsiveness to menu navigation was a lot better. Yet in turn, this game looks way worse. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Gathering resources is required to get anywhere. Need a shelter? Get some vines, leaves, and wood. Need a fire pit? Get some crap of whatever it needs. Need food? Climb trees and spear fish till you get stuff. Yet every time you do anything, when you gather, your needs decay so rapidly. So you'll be dealing with those along the way. Stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Yep, just what I like in my games. Each resource deposit appears to take roughly a day or so, or a single loading screen from back to the area for it to respawn. Some resources give you loads of stuff, while others not so much, because of course there's the rare resources you need for the best of stuff, like obsidian spears, knives, and axes. As for crafting, you must get a workbench of some kind. Each one has a different level and what you can make at them, but only non-furniture and shelter stuff can be crafted here, so tools, other leisure goods, and clothing are made at these benches. At first, your only bench is, well, you can see it's nothing good. As such, your only available stuff is the lowest grade. So get to improving your mechanical skill and make more stuff. Build shelters and gather more resources. Everything you do will build your skill set to make things easier in the end. Plus, you need to have a certain skill level in order to just explore the island and progress the story. Well, there's no story, but you get the idea. Want to beat the game? Want to get the best spots to build and gather resources? Get good, son. Build up that body and mechanical skill. Building relationships takes forever, especially because this game lacks social interactions. It's basically talk, argue, romantic hug, serenade, propose, marriage, etc. Oh, and you can't woohoo, so there's no reason to really build relationships. You just need to if you want to get people to join your tribe, and in turn, they do nothing to help you. The chimpanzees are way more useful than your crew will ever be.
I'm Paul.
And all they want is a banana and a hug.
Yeah, we can teach him sign language, and he can tell us stories about what you two did on the island together.
No. Let's not bring the monkey.
Exploration, much like on PlayStation 2 and Portable, remains the same and in turn is rather boring. Each area is tiny, linear, and features the same old stuff with barely anything being different between them, making exploration not really rewarding. I mean, I shoved my head into a door with a crown to unlock it. I can't remember if I did this on the PSP or PS2, so this was exciting to see a new area. But it was just a door that led outside of a temple, with every resource I could gather elsewhere. So yeah, I was disappointed in that. But hey, I finally completed the quicksand puzzle. Alright, that was during the failed recording because Nvidia Shadowplay fucking sucks. Fuck you, Nvidia. I'm getting closer to going AMD at this rate. I already got their CPU after bailing on Intel. Now you're enticing me to get their GPUs as well. The grind is real, and it sucks. You need to gather so much stuff just to make the tiniest of things. Your needs decay so rapidly, you might as well break the disc in half, as it would be more pleasant than tending to your needs. It's like you're playing a narcoleptic, hypoglycemic, 128-year-old chain smoker with the bladder of a newborn. You're always dealing with energy, bladder, hunger, social fun, and more. I hate it. All this stuff just gets in the way. If The Sims 2 Castaway got rid of majority of these, or all together, nobody would care, and it would have been a much more fun game in turn. If your crew wasn't so useless, I'd actually have more fun, but all they do is talk, abuse the hot springs, and make so much food it mostly goes to waste. Not to mention all the fires they start because of it, like holy shit. Most of my time was putting out fires because they left empty bowls lying around the campfires. Hell, Schleit himself burned down one of my huts by setting up a fire pit within it. I don't remember doing that. Plus, the recording didn't save. Fuck you, Nvidia Shadowplay. Fuck you. The music is so generic and just okay. If you want a generic play it safe, boring tropical island playlist, this is it. It's nothing iconic or unique, just drums, maracas, and all that jazz. Honestly, I'd sooner recommend you disable it altogether so you're not hearing the same song over and over and over and over and over and over, bend over and over and over and over again. Much like the PSP and PS2, the Wii version is plagued with technical problems, from slowdown to freezing to even graphical glitches where textures flicker all the time, which is very prominent in the most prosperous place to build a shelter at, with the hot springs and everything right outside the temple. Yet, for some reason, it was also less of an issue than PS2 and the worst offender PSP. Go figure. While all three have problems, Nintendo Wii was the best overall experience performance-wise. How is that even possible? The Wii was an underpowered disaster, but it is what it is.
You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. There it is.
When it comes to actually finishing this horrible game, just like the PS2 and PSP, you got two options, or at least you should, but for me, for some reason, the boat ending glitched out and wouldn't let me build the craft. So I had to go with the ending 2, where you build a radio with a transmitter, sending out an SOS. Either way, both endings are the same. The only difference is the first few screenshots.
Apa sahabat? Tak plus. Sahabat lah.
At the end of the day, I can barely recommend The Sims 2 Castaway. It's just the PS2 and PSP version with motion-based controls that are incredibly clunky. Not to mention all the gameplay issues, and there's glitches that stop you from progressing, let alone escaping the island if you're not careful. The AI isn't that good, and your crew won't do anything to really help. Just mooch. The game is just a mess as per usual, but unlike the PS2 and PSP version, it's just slightly more enjoyable to play for some reason. I'll just recommend this version of the three, and as for the DS version, well, I had to cancel that review, as I need original hardware to use its tacky gimmicks like microphone blowing to start campfires. Fuck that. Oh well, at least we still have 2 more Sims games for the Wii to look at. Not counting My Sims because it was its own series. So someday we'll look at The Sims 2 Pets for Wii and The Sims 3 for Wii. Till then anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later.
Sahabat lah.
Sugi. My God.
After the mixed bag experience of The Sims 2 Castaway on Nintendo Wii, it's time to check out the next game, that being The Sims 2 Pets. And yes, it's just the PS2 game with tacky Nintendo Wii controls forced onto you, with even more worse controls altogether. As such, I will not be going in depth with this version. The PSP and PS2 reviews are much more in depth, yet they also flopped hard. So why do that for a 3rd time? Exactly. So this one will be short, as I'll just give you the basics. So let's see if the Wii version of The Sims 2 Pets is worth playing akin to the PS2 version, shall we? The entire concept of The Sims 2 Pets is now you can have pets in The Sims.
Well, no.
Tend to them, teach them tricks, make sure they're happy, and live your own life along the way, all in a new location defaultly called Whiskerton, where everyone is obsessed with pets. Thankfully no cats got the Shane Dawson experience. Jumping right into Create a Sim, we experience this game's awful graphics and terrible controls straight away. Good God, is this game just terrible to look at and play already? More controls later on, but for now, we gotta make Sims with the usual options from The Sims 2 for consoles. Except, just like the PS2 and PSP, there's barely any content here to make Sims, so enjoy your vast limitations of fashion, hair, facial hair, and accessories. Oh, and yes, just like The Sims 2 Castaway, you cannot change your Sims' eyebrows and eyes. Everyone has brown eyebrows and eyes no matter what, except when you choose the alien skin. Man, I'm not having any real fun with this port of the game so far. Let's hope Create a Pet will be more worth checking out than Create a Sim. Creating pets is the same as the PS2 with no signs of the alien or robot cat or dog option from the PSP. Very disappointing that the PSP gets exclusive breeds like those, as they were very unique in appearance and sound. I mean, Who didn't own a robot toy back in the 2000s or 1990s? Those things were all the rage, whether it was Pokemon, Digimon, Tamagotchi, Neopets, or even one of those Japanese robot toys.
Oh, those were the days.
Anyways, you can make cats and dogs by choosing a breed or mixing them, and then altering their fur, colors, patterns, body shape, and then giving them fashion, a name, and picking their personality traits. Nothing really special, just a PS2 game with less enjoyable controls. So what is there to even say? You got a decent amount of breeds, though most of them are dogs. So just make something, name them, and then go ahead and make them a snob like the average vegan or Linux user, or make them into slobs or very aggressive that you might as well name your dog Cujo. And that's about it. Let's move into the town of Whiskerton by choosing one of a few different lots available, and then begin building our house so we can play the game. So, once you start playing, the controls become very convoluted. I'll save the details for their own section later, but for now you just need to know it's not exactly easy navigating the UI and placing walls or objects. This build mode just doesn't really work with this control scheme. Another thing I noticed is that the fire code meter seems to be smaller than the PS2, so it's more akin to the PSP limitations, but not as severe. Damn, what a letdown for a next-gen console experience. But hey, it's Nintendo, what else is new? No, but seriously, what appeal is there to this game's controls on Wii? I'm fighting the nunchuck and Wiimote just to play this game and build a basic house. That's not normal, nor a good thing. Another weird thing I noticed is, even if you're supposed to be able to pick up objects like windows and doors or furniture, this port won't let me do that no matter what buttons I press. The indicator on screen doesn't work. I can't pick up a window I placed wrongly. So if I want to get rid of it, I gotta press the undo button, which is only good for a single undo/redo. Yikes. I'm not having any fun so far. And that brings us to buy mode, as placing objects is very clunky as well. I mean, rotating them with the Wiimote D-pad while also having to use the nunchuck to move stuff around. This is so uncomfortable. Moving the camera around is a pain as well, as it requires a button combination because of the lack of buttons on Nintendo controllers till about the Wii U and Switch. It literally took Nintendo over 30 years just to make a normal controller, and even then the Joy-Cons are something only little Asian women can use comfortably.
It's funny because it's true.
Plus, why does the game keep switching between the Wiimote cursor with motion controls to a normal control scheme as I navigate the UI and place objects? This is so confusing. Just stick to one and not the other. Fuck.
Calm down.
Fuck it, we're done building and placing stuff. We gotta move on to the actual gameplay, starting off with the controls. Oh lord, the controls. It makes Castaway look good in comparison.
Good God.
This game decided it doesn't know when it wants to use a cursor via Wiimote and when you want to actually play it like a traditional game, as you're always swapping between the two at random depending on the menu and control scheme selection, because just like The Sims 2, on other consoles, you can directly control Sims or swap to the traditional point and click.
It's good.
Yet the point and click option doesn't work, as no matter what I click on, the Sim just goes there. He just moves to that spot. It won't let me select an object or Sim to interact with. I can't even interact with pets with this control scheme at all, unlike the PS2 or PSP. Shocker.
That's bad.
Here's the control layout. Now explain to me how this is comfortable, enjoyable, intuitive, and good. I'll wait. Oh, and yes, I tried to find the manual online, let alone plain text of the controls, but there's literally no sites containing this information. Appears the Wii version of this game is not exactly that beloved if there's no preservation of a fucking manual. You can't. This shit is god-awful. I'd rather get a colonoscopy with a porcupine than play this game.
Oh, Christ!
There's no speed up option, nor pause time option either. Yep, this port, because of the terrible Wii controls and limited inputs, nothing new for a Nintendo console, you cannot speed up nor pause the game.
Is this some kind of joke?
Outside of the bad controls, we gotta talk about how the Sims 2 needs are still a pain with no cheat code to max motives like in other games. This means you'll be dealing with needs non-stop and barely given any free time to work or play with pets. Yeah, this game sucks, from peeing yourself to fainting because you're starving. Also, needs do not fill up as much nor as fast in this port for some reason, so get used to spending all your money just to eat several roasts, because your Sims don't get much filling from each plate. Jesus fucking Christ.
I couldn't make this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I'm sad that I lack the talent to make this shit up.
Problem right away, outside of the controls and needs, is you got nothing to really do, as most gameplay objects from The Sims 2 was removed in favor of pets. So you wanna surf? Can't. Gotta make room for several versions of the same litter box. Wanna go to space? Can't. Gotta make room for several versions of the same pet food bowl.
Bruh.
This game has very little stuff to play with. Unless you're obsessive over pets, you won't have anything to really do. All besides tending to your needs non-stop, since there's no cheat code for them. Seriously, why the fuck is there no fucking cheat code to deal with the fucking needs? I'm tired of having to fucking take a shit every fucking 5 seconds.
Do I look like a happy camper to you?
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
Didn't think so.
So yeah, the pets, you gotta love pets. All they do is piss everywhere, leave behind tons of dandruff and pet hair on everything, not to mention puke and pee on everything as well. Yeah. Oh, and they cost a lot of money. Plus, there's a ton of legal jargon you gotta deal with these days because bureaucrats had to find more reasons to stay employed. Yeah, no thanks. The older I get, the less I like children and animals. I just don't like them anymore that much. As I get older, I like being alone. Maybe hang around a single person at best every now and then. To me, loneliness is bliss. So what can you even do with pets? You can play with them and teach them tricks. Yep, that's it. Also, there's barely anything for pets to play with. It's almost as bad as The Sims 4 cats and dogs, but not quite. All you get is a doghouse and a scratching post. The rest is bought in the town square. So how about we cover that next?
What else is on?
In the town square, you use paw points you earn from interacting with pets. Or just buy them using simoleons. With these, you can now buy stuff at the square, whether you want to adopt a pet or even sell one. You can get your pet washed, buy new toys or condos, scratching posts, and even more pet food bowls, because you gotta have more pet food bowls. Can't have enough pet food bowls. Why is there so many fucking pet food bowls? You got treats at the bakery, and even a boarding house to tend to your pets if you need a break, let alone can't really take care of them right now. You got a coffee cart and a tree to play with cats on. Over time, if you buy enough stuff at each store, they'll get a cosmetic upgrade with an inventory expansion as well. If you buy enough coffee, you can see another stand appear, and then another. It's a neat idea that as players play the game, the town square expands and changes appearance with additional stuff to interact with and buy. Too bad this port is so bad, I refuse to play it enough to show you these changes. Go watch my PS2 review instead if you want a more in-depth one.
Yeah, okay, fine. I just...
When it comes to graphics, this game is fugly, but not as bad as the PSP version. It also has pretty fast load times and not as much stuttering or freezing in comparison to the PlayStation 2 version. Navigating UI is a clunky mess, sure, but there's no waiting for objects to render in their respective windows so you can see what you're selecting before placing it. Honestly, if this port had a normal controller option, I would see it working out much better.
Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
Out of all three versions I've covered now of the same game, the PSP is the worst, Wii is the second worst, and the PS2 was the best. Not surprisingly, the Xbox never got this game, only GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and DS. But I have no interest in reviewing any more GBA or DS games given they flop on my channel, and are a pain to make into videos. So with all that said, if you gotta play The Sims 2 Pets on console, make sure it's the PS2 version. And with that, we only have one game left to cover, so whenever I can get to The Sims 3 for Wii, I will. I'm very interested in that game because apparently it's so technically flawed and restrictive, but also open world with unique gameplay mechanics not seen in any other Sims game to date. So yeah, that one will be more fun to check out than yet another third version of the same exact game like here and Castaway. Anyways, time to wrap up this review.
It's about time.
At the end of the day, The Sims 2 Pets for Nintendo Wii is a lackluster, restrictive, clunky, boring port of an already not so good game on PS2. It's not as bad as the PSP version, however, as I can actually build in this port, but it's the second worst looking one with terrible controls. Honestly, I'll give it 2 stars for mediocre and recommend it. You can always do worse with the PSP version in a way. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later.
What?
We're back with The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii as we journey through every version of The Sims 3 available, minus Xbox 360 since it's the same thing as the PS3. Last year I covered The Sims 3 on DS, and last month I covered the 3DS version as well. So now we'll see if Nintendo Wii will be any good and better than those two. So kick back, relax, and let's get into The Sims 3 for Nintendo Wii and see if it's a good game or not as we close in on the end of our 5-game journey. The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii is attempting to emulate the PC version of The Sims 3 with an open world, beach, swimming, fishing, rabbit hole careers, raising a family and more. It's close to the DS version basically, but unlike the DS and 3DS version, you're directly controlling your Sims akin to The Sims 2 on consoles, which is neat, and I prefer this control scheme. The gameplay is more engaging when you directly control your Sims. But of course, because it's not a Nintendo Wii, there's a ton of drawbacks that hold this version of The Sims 3 back. So let's get into them, starting off with Create a Sim.
Oh, my favorite!
So, starting off, I'm not going to play The Sims as a family, as I'm not into the idea of settling down and becoming a parent. Too expensive, too many legal issues that come with it these days, and don't get me started on losing everything in the eventual divorce like most marriages end. Why would I want that?
Hard to argue with that.
Anyways, so we'll be doing what I normally like to do, and that is making myself Charlie, Muda, and Zach. While I could have added others, Since you can now have large households apparently, I guess, I decided against it because I don't want to micromanage too many Sims at once. It would become too overwhelming. As for Create a Sim, it's actually pretty good, though lacking in certain areas like traits and clothing options. You only have a select few formal wear and swimwear options, for example, as a male. And since I'm not creating any females...
Because he's stupid. Duh. He's stupid, so he's gonna think something stupid. It's pretty simple, right? I mean... Duh.
I have no idea what the options are like for them. Instead, this is a dude bro household of hard-working manly men doing whatever they can to keep a roof over their head and partying when it's possible.
Thanks.
The controls took some getting used to here, and be careful when clicking any buttons while at the main page of Create a Sim where you enter a name and stuff. Otherwise, it automatically clicks the randomize button, and you will lose all your progress. There is no undo option akin to PC, so I lost all of my progress on one of these guys. I can't remember who, and if I even saved that portion of the recording, but it did happen.
Sure, buddy.
So pick your Sim's name. Don't bother changing the last name at first because it'll just reset to the default of whoever came first. So everyone shared my last name till I changed it and confirmed the Sim is done. A very annoying bug, but something to be aware of if people in your household don't share the same last name.
Okay.
You can pick your gender of male and female, your age of child, teen, adult, and elder. Then your weight and muscle sliders, plus for skin tone options. You have 4 with different shade options underneath them. There's a lot more traits in the Wii version compared to DS and 3DS, but not enough variety compared to what's on PC, so no computer geeks and stuff like that. You can't make Sims completely like the real deal people you're basing them on, sadly, but still closer than what you had on handhelds. Afterwards, you pick your lifetime wish from several options instead of being restricted based on your trait selection, so that's a huge plus in my book. But after you pick your basics, it's time to delve into the looks of your Sims, starting out with hairs, and there's a decent amount in comparison to DS and 3DS, but also not that much. However, I was able to give everyone their proper hairstyles. Charlie and I have a head of luscious hair. Meanwhile, Muda has a more medium-esque one at the time of making him. Then, for Zach, as always, he's a pain with games given his hairline has receded so much it's no longer a Nintendo 64 controller or even a GameCube controller. So I just gave him the middle-aged divorced dad living in a rundown apartment hair instead. You got eyebrows and facial hair options as well, but no custom hair colors, just the basic stuff. You can't sculpt the faces really, but there's a good amount of presets to select from. You even got a decent amount of tattoos if you like. I don't, but it's an option. Yet once you delve into the clothing section is where things get really fugly. You only got a small selection of stuff to wear, but unlike DS and 3DS, there's a decent variety of colors to choose from for basically every piece of clothing, even the shoes. So giving everyone their proper clothing based on what they wear on stream/video wasn't really an option, but hey, I did my best in the end. But the sheer amount of loading in between everything made in Create a Sim takes forever. To make myself, Charlie, Muda, and Zach, it literally took 30 minutes. Once you're done in Create a Sim, it's time to move into the new world of Vista Beach, where you have a whopping total of 5 choices to move into.
Guys, stop! You're giving me too many options. I'm only one man here.
You got 4 pre-made houses and 1 empty lot, each varying in cost and theme. They're not that well placed either, as they tend to be bundled near each other, so it's not like you can have a house on one side of town or the other. Oh no. Instead, they're all basically in the lower left-hand corner of the world. Yeah, so anyways, just decide which area and house design you prefer, let alone can afford. Then, move in. I decided because I wanted to explore build mode for this review, I had to go with the giant empty lot option near the diner. Once I got into building mode, however, I learned that this game is vastly restricted akin to the Sims 2 Pets on PSP. You see, unlike the DS and 3DS version, you cannot freely build houses. That's why houses in this game look so much better than what you can get even on PC. They're shells. You pick a shell to place onto your lot, and then you can add walls and stuff inside of it.
Excuse me, what?
Also, there's a lot of lag as you attempt to place the shell down. You can see it in the recording. Yeah, it's that bad. Yeesh. Once you place a shell, you can go inside of it to design your house layout by placing walls, wallpaper, flooring, doors, etc. But you cannot really build a house outside of this. Hell, there's no pools either. You want to swim in a pool? Go to the beach. There's one nearby it. Yep, that's it.
I couldn't make this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I'm sad that I lack the talent to make this shit up.
When it comes to buy mode, things are not much better as we struggle to place objects as they randomly rotate against your will when placing things, leading to objects not facing the right way. Also, I noticed much like the Sims 2 Pets on Wii, once an object is placed, it's nigh impossible to pick it back up.
Scud. That's good shit right there. I'm gonna need every last drop of this.
There's a general lack of objects too in this game. Not even stuff to unlock. You want a computer? You got two options, and that's it. You want skill objects? You got a workout bench, a chess table, easel, and bookshelf. That's it. There's just a general lack of build and buy mode objects, especially things with gameplay attached to them. Which is weird, given the Sims 2 on PSP has more stuff to it. Even the DS version has more stuff. Not to mention the Sims 2 on console has more gameplay objects to play with. Hell, even the Sims 1 on console has more gameplay objects to play with. What the hell, Sims 3 on Wii?
Fuck you! I ain't having that shit!
As for live gameplay, you just directly control a single sim at a time, akin to the Sims 2 games on consoles and GBA games. Your goal is to make your Sims happy and make it to 500,000 lifetime points before 50 days go by, or else game over, I guess. I don't know, and I don't care. I just want a life simulation sandbox, and this game attempts to give us that, but with tons of things holding it back.
Ah boy, here we go.
But first off, when it comes to the controls, they're pretty clunky and take some time getting used to. You directly control your sim, yes, but in turn, you still use the Wiimote to move a cursor around to select things. So you got a pie menu akin to the PC game instead of the UI of the Sims 2 games for console, for example. Tending to needs is pretty basic and usually doesn't take much time to deal with them, but they do drain pretty rapidly depending on what you're doing, mostly work related. Walking around the open world is fun as we can freely explore it. However, there are freezing and stuttering that will occur as you play. Plus, a loading icon appears in the lower right hand corner at times to load in data, especially when the carpool for work shows up to your house, I noticed. I enjoyed exploring the near seamless open world of Vista Beach. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a sucker for open world games. I love exploration, part of why I've sunken in almost 5,000 hours into Skyrim Legacy Edition on PC since 2012.
Take the money, get some help.
Anyways, it's fun to see other people's homes and just check out the overall town. You got plenty of rabbit holes to visit for work and other activities, plus a beach you can visit at any time. There you can fish, swim, and even kite surf. The first thing I did was switch between everyone and make sure they all got a job. I went with Cook, Muda became a scientist, Charlie got into extreme sports, and Zach became a career criminal. Yeah, just imagine waking up in the middle of the night to see Gollum stunt double sneaking around your house trying to steal a TV. I'd be afraid too.
Suck a fucking dick. Shut the fuck up.
A neat thing exclusive to the Wii version of The Sims 3 is how when you go to work, you directly control the actions of your sim. While not exactly The Sims 3 Ambitions or The Sims 4 Get to Work, it's still more in depth than the base game rabbit hole careers in The Sims 3 on PC. You have several actions you can take, each one with a pro and a con. Whether you want to work hard and impress your boss, attempting to earn a bonus on top of closing in on a promotion, but in turn making your coworkers hate you for actively doing your job. Or if you'd prefer to screw around with your coworkers to build your relationship with them, but in turn lose out on performance and your boss hating you. There's new actions that can be selected from too once you unlock them, with the relationship progress bar showing locks on the right side of the screen. Those are new actions and bonuses. You can also just tend to your needs or increase your skills at work too if you so choose, like a cook working on their cooking skill, or extreme sports on their athletics skill. But once you're in this, you gotta play till the end, so whichever sim you're controlling, this is all you're going to do and see till their shift is over. But honestly, I like this idea. It's just neat seeing all the progress in real time. I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something, unlike on PC, where I send my sim to work, they disappear and then they pop back into the world after a shift and just hope for the best. Here, there's new actions, unlike PC, and more details on screen to showcase your progress. Overall, I like it, if you can't tell.
No shit, Sherlock!
Since you need to be in a good mood at work, this means making your Sims happy. So when it comes to tending to their needs and wishes, it's pretty easy doing so manually. But expecting this game's AI to do anything right isn't going to end well.
Uh-oh!
In fact, unlike on PC, your Sims on Wii will usually just pee themselves and go to work stinky, or not go to work at all, but instead head out to the skate park like Charlie likes to do. Damn it, Charlie, go to work. You're not helping us pay rent. If you don't go to work, you're out of the house.
Do I look like a happy camper to you?
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
Didn't think so.
So yeah, you'll be micromanaging every sim in your household. Otherwise, don't expect to keep a job or be able to pay any bills, let alone have your kids taken away because their programmed is very terrible at tending to their needs. This is one aspect of the game I cannot let slide, but hey, at least we have 2 whole whopping brand new unique gameplay objects exclusive to The Sims 3 on Wii. Yay!
What? Tell us!
There's 2 unique gameplay objects to The Sims 3 on Wii. The first being kite surfing, where you can buy a board and then place it into the world to be used in the ocean. Once you're on it, you can just move around and, well, yeah, it looks like ass because it is. There's no feel to it, you know? It's just gliding like you're no-clipping around in Gary's mod. There's no physics to the water, no resistance. It feels so off and stupid to use. Honestly, vastly disappointed in this. It feels like something you'd see in The Sims 4 and not The Sims 3. Yeah, it's on par with the inferior sequel in terms of quality. Moving on. The second and last gameplay that's exclusive to Nintendo Wii's version of The Sims 3 is you can go skateboarding.
Yay!
No, Chris, not yay.
Sadly, it's just a reskin of the snowboarding from Seasons. It's just the ramp where you just repeat the same canned animation. You can't do any tricks. There's no grinding on rails. There's no going up or down the curved concrete walls covered in graffiti. You just have a single skateboard ramp that you cannot buy at home. You have to go across town to use a single ramp and hope no one else is using it first. Yeah, lame.
And, yeah, that's really about it. So, yep.
When it comes to socializing, it's pretty easy. Just like on PC, you got the pie menu, unlike The Sims 2 on console, where it's just a traditional menu scrolling through everything. And this works very well on Wii, just like on DS and 3DS. Given the Wii motion-based cursor you're forced to use at all times in the game, so selecting things is pretty easy. I only ever had a few conversations with other Sims during my time playing, as I was more focused on tending to needs, going to work, paying the bills, and giving us better furniture to make our lives easier to care for, friendship and love and all that crap. But yes, everything is here with moods, the conversation's theme, what Sims think of you, etc, etc, etc. It's overall okay. One more thing to cover before we move on to the other section is you can go shopping just like on PC. So if you want certain food items or gardening stuff, you can go to the grocery store to stock up on fish, fruit, vegetables, etc. You can go buy new books at the bookstore, amongst other things. Go to the restaurant even. So there's things to do outside of the home lot or even just going to work. But overall, the gameplay is still pretty lackluster compared to the PC-based game, so I didn't have much to do after a few hours of playing this game.
It is I, a picky bitch.
On to the other section where we discuss things like load times, performance, the music, and more, starting off with the overall technical stuff, to which sadly The Sims 3 on Nintendo Wii suffers from a lot of. But then again, that's what happens when you literally emulate the PC version on the worst console of the 7th generation.
Stand straight!
The game looks awful with tons of pixelated jagged lines of a shit ton of motion blur. There's rendering issues galore with objects popping in and out right in front of you or looking straight out of the PlayStation 1.
Nice fucking model!
The non-stop freezing, stuttering, and random loading screens that pop up gets annoying after a while. Using the speed up feature will lead to non-stop issues galore. Sims are not that smart and will never really tend to their needs nor go to work that much. So you're constantly babysitting every single one in your household.
In conclusion, it just... yeah, you said it.
Non-stop loading in between every action in Create a Sim doesn't help either. Every category, every piece of clothing you select, you gotta wait several seconds till it loads. This piles up, and in the end of Create a Sim, I was roughly 32 minutes into the game so far, playtime wise.
Jesus Christ!
I guess we gotta do this, right? Well, then here we go. When compared to the DS and 3DS, the Wii version has its fair share of problems, but is overall doing a much better job at emulating the PC version of the game. It's more true to the real Sims 3, with an actual open world unlike DS, which still has a loading screen in between home and the world itself. But I'll give the DS version some respect from trying to pull off such an ambitious feat on a terrible console that could barely get a decent looking Super Mario game on it, let alone an open world life simulation. Graphically and performance wise, it's better than 3DS and DS. Wii just offers the closest experience to PC that's not the PC. Alright, with that said, let's move on.
Jesus Christ! Finally!
And with that one done, we're now down to the last two known versions of The Sims 3. Those being the PS3 version and PC version. We'll tackle the PS3 one next and PC last. So far, out of all 5 versions, I'll go with the Wii. Despite several hiccups, it's the closest one so far to emulating what's on PC with some unique features. So with that in mind, let's get to the score.
It's about time!
At the end of the day, The Sims 3 for Nintendo Wii was a mediocre game bordering on average at times, but is held back by a shit ton of technical problems among other things. I still enjoyed playing this game, and was my favorite one so far. But honestly, this game should have been on PS3 and 360 instead, which would have made it look and run a million times better. I mean, those consoles had Far Cry and GTA, meanwhile the Wii did not. At least any good Far Cry games, that is. So yeah, I'd recommend this version of The Sims 3. Just know its shortcomings. As for when I'll get to the PS3 and PC versions, I'm not sure yet. But it'll be done before the end of June, hopefully, if I can get these technical problems fixed with my PS3 copy. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you all later.